Morning everyone, welcome back to Bigot Topics. Right, seems to be I'm touching the nerve of a few people. Obviously they don't like what I'm saying. Well, I'm still going to say it, and that is the Labour and Starmer are the worst, or is the worst government we've ever had in the UK. Thatcher and the Conservatives were just as bad, but not as bad as what Starmer's doing. With Thatcher, we all know what she was like. Classed herself as the Iron Lady. She's done many things we didn't agree with, including the poll tax and many other things as well. But I can say honestly that because I understand what Thatcher was doing, not many people did like her. And how do I get my views and assumptions and feelings and stuff like that regarding Starmer? Well, it might be because I speak to a lot of people. So it's not just my opinion. And when I talk about things, it's from experience. It's not a case of it's my own personal view. No, it's many people's views, but I voiced that view across on my channel. Some people don't like it. Some people do like it, and that's the difference of opinions. We can make assumptions, yes, but when you make an assumption about me, which is wrong, and you start getting verbal abusive about it, then I draw a line. And the thing is, by all means make comments, but you don't have to start being rude about it. I'm not saying everyone is, I'm not saying everyone isn't, but what will happen, it won't be allowed. So if you want to comment, please comment. But we can agree to disagree. You have your opinions, I have my opinions, and my opinions are based on a broad range of people's feelings and what they say to me. So it's not just my view. I want to clarify that. Now, when I say to people, what do you think of this government? Right? And they will tell me. I'll say to them, I'll say her or him, whoever, right? Tell me why. Or how do you see the government in this country? What do you think they're doing good? What do you think they're doing bad? And I normally get quite a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Description. Sometimes very colourful, to say the least, because a lot of people do hate his guts, and there's in a lot of people's views that they are destroying the country. I'm not a far right. I'm not a right wing person. I'm just a David with a view. I say it how I feel. Yeah, I might belong to Reform UK, but I won't class them as far right. It's not. It is. It is what it is. It is. You either vote for the Conservative, you vote for Labour, you vote for Reform. There's no left wing, right wing. That's all BS. It's all this political agenda, all this political correctness. I'm sorry, it's just BS. And why I say it's BS is because people want to string it along. People want to make it out something it's not. And all at the end of the day it boils down to is people with a view, right? You might not like my views, and you might think I waffle. Sometimes I do. I don't disagree with that. I do tend to go on a little bit sometimes, and I tend to go off subject. That's David for you. But what I'm talking about here is why people hate Starmer and the Labour Party is because it's not right. What the problem is with I find with Labour is this. Me personally, is that it started, as far as I was concerned, with them saying we've inherited I think it was a £20 billion black hole, right? And I thought, okay, so they're going to have to make changes, right? Okay, so they started doing that, and then they implemented, as far as I remember, it was cutting the winter fuel allowance for the pensioners. Then they slapped an inheritance tax on the farmers. But in the meantime, what did they do? They gave over £500 million to foreign countries' farmers. But what did they do to the British farmers? Screw you, we don't care a monkeys. Right? And I feel that it's an insult to the British farmers for all the hard work, and where if you pass down a farm to your siblings or a co-worker that has worked for you for many years, and you want to leave them something for their gratitude of what they're doing. So now when you pass it on, there's obviously all the malarkey about how much it is and all that, right? But it's still a slap in the face, and it's almost like, when you sell a property, you've got to give, if it's over a certain amount, I think it's called, what is it called now? I can't remember what it's called because I haven't sold my house for been 23 years. That was the last time I sold my house, 23 years ago. So things have changed since then. But what I'm getting at is this government has not only done that, then they went to the Chinese to sign a what was it now? An agreement for investment into this country, and that's got to be repaid. And it's over 100 years to be repaid. It was I think it was nearly £1 billion. But I think to myself, they are our adversaries. They are supporting Russia, right? They are supporting Iran and in league with, North Korea. I think is this government absolutely brain dead or what? And the list just goes on and on and on and on. It's not just one thing what this government's done. And I don't like any of them. I don't like David Lammy, Rachel Reeves, Angela Rayner, Starmer. I don't even like Sadiq Khan. Okay, I don't really agree with everything Nigel Farage says. Right? Will he make a better Prime Minister? Probably. Kimmy in the Conservative Party, well, she's trying her best. And I don't know. I really don't know if I can trust the Conservatives to do a good job. I will say this, she's trying to do her best, and it's going to take a long time to bring back the Conservatives. I feel between the parties that will probably win the next election and how it will go. Well, we saw the Conservatives get decimated, right? They lost so many seats in Parliament, and people were out of jobs and stuff like that. And then we saw a landslide majority for the Labour Party. Now, I didn't vote Labour, right? I was going to vote for reform, but unfortunately I was away at the time, and I didn't. Unfortunately, that was the truth. I would have voted for reform, so I was unable to vote. But the thing is, I'm 64 and I've got a long memory when it works. And I remember what Tony Blair was like. Gordon Brown calling that woman a bigot. And Tony Blair, that is a very, very dangerous man in my eyes. So, to sum it all up, we have had a catastrophic prime ministers in this country that have absolutely screwed us over. And it's not just, one government. It's been multiple governments, multiple parties that have been in power and completely, utterly screwed this country up. I don't know if it's an agenda from Brussels, right? And then you said, I've had a comment where you're right wing. No, I'm not, right? I look at the parties, what they're saying and what they've done, right? And I can see what Labour's done, and I don't like it. Well, the Lib Dems, nah, no chance. Greens, possibly. If I was going to vote for another a party, it would never. I would never ever in my lifetime, which is not long ago now with the way it's going. I would never vote Labour in my life again. They have absolutely betrayed everyone's trust. Whether you're a Labourite or Conservatite or whatever you like to call yourself, right? You have an opinion. Fair dues. But my opinion is, I look at it, I don't make my own judgment until I've found out more information about it. So you might think I'm right wing. No, I'm not right wing. Right? Or, you some people seem to put a stigma to people, and they're labelling them. That's the worst thing you can do, because you're prejudging someone. I think we've all done it. To be honest with you, we've done it. I've done it. I admit it, right? And it's the worst thing you can do, because you don't really know the person. But considering how they've done, like Sir Keir Starmer or Nigel Farage, I just feel what they've shown us is not good. To be honest with you, not good at all. They're supposed to lead by example, and if this is the best we've got, God help us, because this is the worst Prime Minister this country has ever had. We thought Thatcher was bad. No, Thatcher was a horrible, horrible, horrible person. But as I say, I think Labour has will be decimated in the next election, like the Conservatives were. I think the reason why I say that is because, as I said before, the people I've spoken to, the consensus is that people hate him. People have called him some right choice names. When I ask them, what do you think of him? What do you think this government's done good? And they look at me and they think to themselves, nothing. Absolutely nothing. They've caused us more trouble. The policies are absolutely mad. And they don't give a flying hoot about you or me. So that's the truth. So I hope Labour does go down next time, never to return. That'd be nice. No more Labour. I could vote for the Green Party next time, or I might vote for Reform. It's highly unlikely that I will vote Conservative. So when you label me far right or right wing, sorry, you got it wrong. You don't know me. And my views depends on what people say, what parties do this and what parties do that. We had, I think it was 14 years of the Conservatives, and they sat on their laurels while this country went down. They had their chance, and I don't agree with what they did. I do agree they could have done a damn sight better, but Kimmy went in charge then. And I'm getting to the consensus that most MPs are hard to find my trust, if you want the truth. But I have an open mind, and I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. And there you know, that's my opinion. Take it for what it is, but that's how I feel. So, who will I vote for next time? I think it'd be a choice between three parties, and that is Reform UK, right? The Green Party, or the Conservative. But Conservative will probably be last. My first choice would be Reform UK. My second choice would be the Green Party. But I'll need to look into the Green Party, what its manifesto is, what it's trying to do, and so on and so forth. We need a party, right, that is for the people, about the people, about putting Britain first. We have had governments in this country, right, have actually destroyed and damaged this country beyond what it is. We are just basically, it's almost like we've got a government that is a cancer. You get some reprieve from that cancer, you give it some, chemotherapy, and you kill that cancer. And then what you get is another government in power, and that cancer regrows. Yeah? And then you give it another dose of chemotherapy, and you kill that cancer to where it's sort of going into dormancy. Yeah? And you think to yourself, oh, we're fine beating it. And then we get another government in power, and it regrows again. So we need, I know it's just an analogy, all right? We need a government that is seriously about the British people. The English people is the most important. If you're an English person, you will understand this. If you're a British person, you will understand that the English have got a right. You might be a British subject, but you're not an English person. In other words, you was not of indigenous to this country. You come into this country, right? You are a British subject, but it doesn't mean you're an indigenous person. You don't have the same. It's just like Australia. Give an example. Putting Australian people first, right? The Aborigines, yeah? They are an indigenous race, as far as I know, to Australia. Yeah? So they have rights. So why have they got rights and we haven't got rights? Because I'll tell you what, this government and previous governments have just crapped on us from a great height, because they don't value the indigenous people's values and rights to this country. We was bred here, right? And that says a lot. But then again, I could go on and on and on. Those are my opinions. They're my views, right? They might be different to yours. But at the end of the day, if you don't talk about them, people don't know. So that's where it stops. And that is, I will not stop talking about it. I will carry on talking about it because it's an interesting subject, because we all have our views, our opinions about what this government is doing, what the government isn't doing, and what your opinions are. Last but least, comment by all means. But when you start, just a word of warning, if you start being rude, which I consider inappropriate, the comment will be deleted. That's all I'm going to say. And the point is, at the end of the day, is just be respectful. You might not like my opinions, or you might do, but you don't have to be rude. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next video.